Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking about Alvin Kamara. And what will he be without Drew Brees? That is one of the biggest questions I think in fantasy for 2021. We know what he's done with Brees as his quarterback in the past, how the receptions were, and that's what really drove him to be one of the best fantasy football running backs out there. It was the receptions. It was the receptions, the yards, the touchdowns, not his running. The running's fine. Like, he's a good player, obviously, on the ground, but Brees looked for him all the time. We got a little glimpse of it last year without Brees. I don't know if it was great. And we don't right now know who his quarterback is going to be yet in 2021. Is it Taysom Hill? Is it Jameis Winston? And what happens in this year, depending on who that quarterback is? What do you think is going to happen here? If it's Jameis, if it's Taysom, what are you looking at?
Well, I think overall, just looking at my expectations for Kamara, I am not that bullish on him this year. I think he's going to be a good player. He'll be, in the top 10 of running back, but I'm probably going to pass on him. And you look at the numbers that he's been able to put together, especially in the last 3 years. He's been playing 4.
Yep.
The numbers have been incredibly close, very consistent. Obviously, that team, he is in the scheme every single week. Obviously, he's a tremendous player, but they knew exactly how they were going to use him. The things that differentiated him year to year were rushing touchdowns.
Yes.
It really was not anything in the passing game, like you said. I mean, it's amazing to look at this. All 4 years, he's had 81 receptions in the first 3 and then 83 in this last one.
Why'd he screw that up?
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable how close it's been. And the rushing is almost the same thing.
Yep.
In 2018, 194, then 171, and then 187. Very, very close. But the touchdowns, in 2019, when he dipped to running back 20,
yep.
He only had five rushing touchdowns and 1 catching touchdown. That was the difference. And in that year, Drew Brees only played 11 games. He tore a ligament in his thumb. Can I completely say it was all of that? No, because he was able to put huge numbers together this past year. He was the number 1 running back when Drew Brees he was hurt a handful of weeks. But coming back to the original question, my thought is if Jameis Winston wins the quarterback position outright, he's still in that top 10, very, very safe. I would, there's a chance he might end up on my team if I need him. If Taysom Hill wins the job, which I don't think is probably going to happen, or and this is the hard part, they're not going to come out and say this, but if they're going to use him in a larger aspect, you're going to get, 10 reps as a quarterback, you're going to be on the field for this. And they will use him all around the field, but if he's going to be playing quarterback as well, I'm very scared for what this might mean. I feel like, yes, they're going to make sure that he gets the ball. He's too good of a player not to. Obviously, the coach is a genius there, but the touchdowns is what begins to really, really scare me. And then on top of that, if the rushing touchdowns just aren't there, if they can really, cram in on the line because you don't have Drew Brees there picking defenses apart.
Right.
What if he does? What if the receptions? What if the yardage goes down? We even saw in 2019, it did drop yardage. That was the only one that stood out. In 81 catches, he only had 533 yards when he's usually up around 700 to 800.
Yep.
That could easily happen again. So I'm truly worried about it. I think more people should honestly talk about it.
I'm with you. I don't hear. This is why I'm going to stay away from Kamara, is because the question marks. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. There's no Drew Brees. I don't know how that's going to work. And right now, on Fantasy Pros consensus ranks, he's 5th. Okay, he's one spot. He's ahead of Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Zeke. I know Zeke struggled last year. Jonathan Taylor still 2nd year. He really came on at the end of the year, though. I want all 4 of those guys right now over him, to be honest. I feel more comfortable, even with Nick Chubb, with Kareem Hunt. I feel more comfortable with those 4 situations right now than I do with Kamara. I do. And I mean, do you envision? I mean, I know Jameis is. This isn't going to be Tampa Bay Jameis. He was just doing whatever. I mean, Sean Payton's going to have him reined in if he's the quarterback, right? But I don't picture Jameis just checking the ball down too much.
He's never had to.
No, and
he's great at airing it out. It's probably good for Michael Thomas.
And I don't want to just say, oh, that's what he does, right? But because Sean Payton, I think, is going to change a lot of things with him. If he's the quarterback, it's not going to be that.
And I can't imagine a world where he doesn't get thrown to 100 times. They don't try to force feed him the ball, but it does not mean he's going to catch 80 of them.
And with Jameis, I feel better about it, but it's still Jameis. And why do we just assume that Jameis has corrected anything? The guy threw 30 picks 2 years ago. Like, I know. Do we just Taysom Hill? And if that happens, if Jameis is throwing these picks, guess what? There he goes to the bench. Here comes Taysom Hill, and I don't like that.
That's even worse because not only is he a runner, but he in the goal line setting,
it takes away those touchdowns. Yeah. There we go.
Not to mention
those 16 rushing touchdowns they had goes away from if Taysom's running in the ball.
I know part of the deal with too was I think it was Latavius Murray was doing a very good job. At the time, but I don't. It spells disaster all over the place for a fantasy owner. He's still going to be that same talent. He's still amazing, but the opportunity and the team he's on is changing drastically.
Well, I think he only drops to 9 for me, though. That's about it. Because like I mentioned, he's 5th in the current consensus ranks, but Chubb, Taylor, Jones, Zeke probably go ahead of him for me. But then it's looking at consensus ranks, then it's like Akers, Miles Sanders, Gibson, Dobbins, Mixon, Eckler, Swift, Robinson, who sucks. Those kind of sorry.
That was a nice jab.
This isn't a James Robinson podcast. Yeah. That'll be later.
That poor guy.
And that'll be another show. But I don't think he goes below those guys to me. He can't go. He's better than those guys.
Yeah.
He sticks there at 9.
I agree. He would be at the bottom of tier 2 for me.
And he pretty much, this is where the difference is. But the thing is, he's not going to go there where I think he should.
I'm not going to be able to get him.
That's the thing. If everybody got on board with us and thought this same thing, and then a couple receivers go ahead, you get him, and if you're in a 10-team league, you get him at the turn, and you get him as your number, a 1 or a 2. Then I'd do it all day. But that's not going to happen. People aren't going to necessarily think this way, and he's still going to get drafted ahead of most of these guys. Not in every league, obviously, but in most of them. Yeah. Zeke's a steal at 9. I like that.
And this is one of the few cases where I can say that I usually at this point you're kind of like go with the talent or whatever.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is a stud. He is one of the best, if not the best. I mean, he's in the discussion with only maybe 1 or 2 other running backs at the moment of how good he is. But here's the other question that we have to lay out there. This is obviously for general. Does that change at all in a full PPR league, full point PPR? Because I do think that is where he's going to get hurt the most, right?
That's where, like, if he's not getting those receptions in PPR, it's like for sure he has to be below these guys.
Right.
Like if he's not getting those receptions I just can't take this chance on him.
Right. It's about the same.
I can't take this chance that he becomes like what he was with Taysom Hill as his quarterback for a couple games, with the reception just going away. If he's my number 1 running back, I can't have him as my number 1 running back. I'll take a sure thing in one of these other guys. I don't know. I really do think Chubb and Taylor and Jones, and I think those guys are sure things yet. I think Zeke's. I don't want to believe that Zeke, what we saw last year from Zeke was him falling off. I think it was a no Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton's his quarterback type thing. And Mike McCarthy's a moron. We know this. He's still the coach. It sucks. Yes, I know. They'll be fired for this year. Yes. But
their defense was so bad that they took Zeke out a lot.
And that was I hate it. Oh God. Let's just not think of Zeke 2020. If you
it was terrible. But it's going to be an interesting one because I love Alvin Kamara, but I don't think people are giving enough respect to Drew Brees because he wasn't the same Drew Brees he was last year.
True.
And they're saying that, he missed a bunch of games last year, and look at what Alvin Kamara was able to do. I don't think that is a direct correlation of where the points came from.
I'd say it feels like Jameis is going to be the quarterback.
I really can't imagine that it'd be Taysom Hill.
I don't know why everyone just thinks, he's figured it out. I don't think he has.
No, he's still the same guy.
He's that 30 interception guy yet.
Yeah, and Alvin Kamara is not going to catch. I mean, his percentage and everything will go up because he'll be able to dump it off. Yep. But he is still going to throw that ball down the field. And you have Michael Thomas, one of the best wide receivers, even though he had an off year too. It's going to be very interesting in the Saints offense this year. And for someone that you have to get as high as him, I'm going to take a rain check and say I wish him the best, but I'm going to go with someone else that I think is more of a sure thing.
Yeah. And I'm good there. I just want to pull up a quick 2019 Bucks. I was just curious what kind of running back, what they got there with him. And Ronald Jones caught 31 balls. So that is
nothing.
That's pretty much it. Oh, and that Ogunable, whatever, no, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He caught 35 balls, actually. So
yeah, they tried to, but once again, different coach. I have no doubt that they'll figure out a way to get him the ball.
66 total catches from the running back position.
Yeah.
That's it.
It changed.
Or no, a little more. Peyton Barber had 16 catches too.
It's going to change the offense, everything.
Yep.
And honestly, too, it's like if he does throw, even if he doesn't throw 30 interceptions, he's going to throw some.
Oh yeah,
that changes how you play defense, and then it takes away the run a little more.
The biggest problem is that just gets Taysom Hill in the game.
Yes,
if it does. That's what's going to happen. So all right, there's some Alvin Kamara talk, and that'll do it for today. Talk to you guys next time.